And I've had a lot of people say that to me. You're like, I find her annoying, or why is she making it about her?
Weird, isn't it?
And you're like, when else is she supposed to do it? Because when else is this much attention on women's football?
Hello guys, and welcome to That's the Tea, the brand new conversation all around football. I'm Nicole Holliday and I'm here with DJ and Dulwich Hamlet footballer Monki, West Ham midfielder Julia Simic and Girls on the Balls Rachel O'Sullivan. How are we?
Good.
I like that we all just like looked at each other and like, oh, how are you?
We're being polite.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone else.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time I saw you?
Yeah, was at the World Cup.
You were doing the podcast out there for Copper, weren't you?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was amazing. We were in Paris for 3 weeks and then Lyon for the final week. I think we were away for 5 weeks altogether, something like that, and it was like 30-something podcasts in 30-something days. But it was a really cool experience, and like loads of guests come to Clubhouse. We were downstairs in this sort of like basement podcast tunnel.
You guys were out there as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there for the first week. I saw the opening game, which was incredible. Never been to a women's game with that atmosphere. It was so loud. Like, I got goosebumps watching the game, and this was so nice, and I just hope we can transport this and keep the momentum a little bit longer. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I don't know about you guys, but the World Cup, there was such a media hype, there was so much attention around it, and I wasn't sure if it would translate, like when we got back, and if that would continue.
Yeah. I mean, I probably was less worried about that because where it was really popular was the quality on the pitch was amazing. The amount of media covering it was huge. The amount of people watching it was huge. I think where there was a bit of a struggle maybe was around like some of the attendances were great, some of them weren't so great. Some of the like cities as a fan, it wasn't brilliant. But then to come home and see like everyone. I remember coming home after the semi-finals, and I went into like a news agents whatever, and every single newspaper had like Ellen White, Lucy Bronstedt, and I was, I took a video of it, I put it up on Twitter. I was just like, as sad as it is, I've never seen this before, where there's been women's footballers like looking back at me from the front pages of the.
Absolutely, and
incredible.
We've seen the attendances in the WSL. I mean, that opening weekend, Manchester Derby, then the next day the Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge. That I was at that one. Did any of you go to the Manchester Derby?
Yeah, I was there. That was pretty cool.
Like?
The atmosphere was pretty cool. Yeah, it was. I did have to take a moment in the press box just to be like, this is cool. It's one of those moments, when in your journey in women's football that you'll remember, that will kind of pinpoint just listening to people singing their chants and stuff like that for a domestic game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the weekend we literally just saw West Ham play Spurs at London Stadium. Julia, what was that like?
Yeah, I think we're quite used to this now, playing this big game.
Casual.
It's still not normal, obviously. It's a big thing for us as female footballers to just being in these stadiums and really play there, and now we also attracting like big attendances, which is even better than just being there and playing in front of 2,000 people or something. So I think the good thing, like obviously we lost, but when you see the bigger picture behind it, there were 24,000 people coming to this game, and I think this is just what it is like, and that I'm just happy that it really works out, putting us in the big stadiums, but really bringing people to come to watch the games.
So going forward, do we think that more games need to be played in the bigger stadiums, or selling out the smaller stadiums?
I think it needs to be a balance. I think you need to manage expectations, because I think I don't think you can do it every week in the big stadiums and get those kind of numbers, because it's not there yet, and that's okay. But I think every team should try at least once a season to have a game in the big stadiums, and it still has that uniqueness, that specialness, and people want to go. And I think it's then converting those people. They see the quality on the pitch and go, actually, it's really good. I'm going to come back, and then you work on filling your own grounds and making your own kind of home in your own stadium.
But this is still the hard thing, right? It's a bit like, how do you fill actually these stadiums as well? How do you attract people to these games who are not played in these big stadiums, and don't know what you have to do to bring people also to these games? I think this is the hard challenge everyone.
I think at the moment, like, you see those big games like what Chelsea did at Stamford Bridge, and at the moment it's portrayed as a sort of like big day out for everyone. It's like a big event, you know what I mean? It's not week in, week out. And I think it's great to do those on occasion through the season, but also what they need to work on is helping the culture, like at grassroots level. Because when you look at football all round together, the support always comes from the bottom up rather than from the top down.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think you're right, you need to fill those smaller stadiums first with people that are going to not only want to go for free, but actually like pay to buy tickets. And then from there needs to be like a progression. It's not just going to happen like, straight away.
I remember going to Wolfsburg when they've in Champions League games, and it's a real community feel. The town comes out to support their team because Wolfsburg's Wolfsburg. It's not like
nothing else.
Well, that's true. I've been there.
They might disagree.
I've been there like 3 times. Okay, it's that's enough. But it is you do feel like everyone gets out to support their local team, and it's maybe tapping into that as well.
I think just making the players a little bit more famous and telling stories from the players, like showing people that they're big personalities in the game as well. Also the men's game, right? They go into Barcelona to see Messi live, or Juventus to see Cristiano. It's just sometimes one player is enough to bring people in the stadium.
Yeah, I think the World Cup has improved that though. I think it is definitely getting there. But let's talk about the North West. Big weekend. So Man United versus Liverpool. United got their first win. I mean, but to be fair to them, they've had a tough few games in the opening fixtures in the WSL. I mean, Arsenal and Man City, that's never going to be easy, is it? But they'll be thrilled with that 2-0 win, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was coming for Manchester United, and Casey Stoney had spoken after those big games about they're in the margins, and they're probably, for other people, maybe a lot closer than they thought Man United might be. I don't think it's a huge surprise for me, but they were so close to the top teams, you know, I felt like a win was coming. I think they deserved it.
Yeah, for sure. And Lauren James, oh my God, she literally
just 17.
She just turned 18.
Oh, the day after?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. What was I doing when I was 17? I was like playing PlayStation.
It's what I was thinking. I was like, that makes me feel very old. But then also like, what was I doing at that age?
What have I done with my life?
But I think when you see her playing, she doesn't play like a 17.
No.
She's so confident as
well,
and
it's
it was
amazing.
a good goal.
Yeah,
it was a good goal.
Yeah, she had the audacity to dummy that defender.
But she has that.
Audacity.
She has that. I saw her play against Millwall for Arsenal when she was like 16, and it was like first time I'd seen her play, and it's one of those where you're like, who is that? Oh my God! Like pulling players off, like I'm totally chill. I'm not afraid of. I was like, she's 16 at the time. She still has that.
We played against Man United last season, pre-season as well, and she must have been 16, 17.
Yeah.
And it's like she got the ball and she just obviously ran through people. You can't get the ball from her. I'm not the best defender anyway, but I tried it several times and never only like reached it. Like now she's really good. Like we've also working with her body already and strong, like really strong, but also quality, really good technical abilities.
Yeah, and where she's so young and she's already such a talent, you kind of think, what is she going to be like in the next few years?
Yeah.
It's quite mental, isn't it? Do we think that United have any chance of sort of knocking on the door in the sense of winning the league, or is it just like an absolute Monki?
I'm an Arsenal fan, so
not biased at all.
Not biased at all, yeah.
I want to keep them behind us as well.
I mean,
so
maybe not this season, but I certainly think they could be a name to challenge the top teams in the coming seasons.
I think they're a great club to be a part of. If you're currently in the squad now, it's a really exciting place to be, especially as a young player, because they've come up. Okay, they had City and Arsenal as their first 2 games. No one really expected anything from those. From those.
And they did quite well.
And they did all right. City, they did really well.
Close games.
Not bad.
So I would say it's like, if I was a young player looking at a club, I'd say it's probably one of the clubs that I'd want to be involved in. Because in like City and Arsenal, you've got so many integral players that are in the Lionesses squad. Like, what are your chances of breaking through? Man United are like, they're new, they're exciting, they're playing young players, so it's something you'd want to be involved in.
I imagine you learn a lot playing against clubs like that at the beginning of the season. You probably take a huge amount from it, especially only losing 1-0. I imagine that does impact your season going forward.
I think they're really ambitious, like the players they brought in as well, like they're not average top players, and I think already last season we lost against them in the cup as well, so they were first division team already last year, and now they even improved. So I think they're better than an average team, 100% in the league. But that's the nice thing in the league anyway. I think there are a lot of teams where you say they have so many quality players, you can't really estimate how they will finish the season. So, but that's exciting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
At least United have got something to be excited about.
Right, City beat Everton 1-0, which actually, I mean, it was a tough game, tough weather conditions over the weekend everywhere, to be fair. Steph Houghton, free kick. She's so
Swerve likes that.
Yeah.
so good.
She's doing this sometimes, right? Like a lot
All the
of
time. She puts those free kicks in. Yeah.
It's really
But
dangerous.
Everton shouldn't be too disheartened,
No.
especially considering, you know, they've had a good start to the season and in comparison to last season in the WSL, almost got relegated.
Well, it was billed as a top of the table clash. Like, I mean, that was pretty cool. I always have a soft spot for Everton because I feel like they've always been on the cusp of something. You know, they've got some really young players, and they were a lot of if you look back at their results, a lot of their results were like 1-0, 2-1, and I, you know, that you kind of felt for them because it felt like they should have been getting more out of these games. So I'm really pleased that they've started so well.
But Manchester City are so good, aren't they? They've got a 100% win record so far in all competitions this season.
They're so good at winning games. So like they can not play well and they'll win the game.
Yeah.
Like, again,
they'll
another
still do it.
another team to look at their back and look at their results. And there's so many games where it's 1-0,
1-0,
2-1, and where there's games you think, oh my god, it's 88 minutes and it's like it's 1-1. Oh my god, is City gonna? Oh no, they've won.
I think this makes the top teams.
Yeah.
That they can win these or even games and.
That's what we want as well, though. We don't want people getting battered all over the pitch.
No.
So we want everything
so
to. We want score lines to be close because it shows that the league is eventually going to sort of like even out, and hopefully there's going to be more than like 2 or 3
more
teams.
That but it does seem more competitive this season, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah.
At least so far.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a few high-scoring games this weekend, so I do wonder whether there was maybe a little bit of a hangover of the World Cup in the first couple of fixtures, but also I think around the hype. People really stepped up their games, so saw some really close clashes in the first couple of weeks.
Do we think that it's basically just going to be between City and Arsenal to win the league? I mean,
hope not.
I think it's too early to tell.
I
think it's too early to tell.
I mean, if you're seeing results like the 1-0s, Arsenal's had it, City's had it, you know, other teams are going to look at that and say, okay, I can get a draw there. I can get, you know. So I think
them two teams are already playing already at a really high level compared to when you see Chelsea. Obviously, you should name them as well under the top favourites to win the league, but they still not really. You don't have the feel it clicked already with the team. But even Everton teams like them, you just even as a player, you feel like it's just nice when you look at the results after a game and you see like Chelsea drew against Brighton. It's good. It's exciting. It's what we all want. Even when you're a top player in a top team, you don't want to go to Everton and beat them 5-0. You want to have a close game to compete on a high level and just make it close games and attractive as well for spectators.
Man City, I want to give a shout out to Kira Walsh, right, City and England player. She's so good. I mean, she had a really good run out of the World Cup, and manager Nick Cushing has just said that she's basically one of the most intelligent players that he's ever worked with, which is, that's a big compliment, isn't it, Julia?
Yeah, I think so. I played against her twice, and it's like she has a good feeling for the space, where to turn and where to put the ball, and it's like hard to get on the ball. It's like you don't even know how to cover her, to drag on her. She always knows where to move, and I think she has really good technical abilities as well, and she's a great player.
Do we think she could be a future England captain?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
You saw how she acted in the World Cup. You would never have guessed she's like, you know, one of the youngsters.
She's 22, I think.
That's what blows your mind. She's so young, and it's such a integral position to be playing in a team, and she can really be a puppet master. And for such a young player, she can really like turn a game.
Usually you might expect young players in their first World Cup to like not crumble a bit, but like feel the pressure. But she didn't seem like, when you watch her play football, it was like she was playing on a Sunday.
Right, let's do a little roundup of the FA WSL results. So West Ham, sorry Julia, 0, Spurs 2. 6 points from 9 for Spurs, who are obviously making their mark in their first WSL season. They'll be really happy with that. Birmingham City versus Reading, obviously postponed due to the weather. Bristol City 0, Chelsea 4, with new signing Guro Reiten scoring 2 in the first 10 minutes. And I met her, I'm looking at any of you went there, at the Stamford Bridge game the other week. Lovely, shout out Guro. And then Arsenal 4, Brighton 0. Obviously Jordan Nobbs back on the score sheet, which, come on Monki, as an Arsenal fan,
gassed.
We like to see. Now she is such a brilliant player, and it's so great for Arsenal to have her back, but also she's now back in the England squad. How important is she for the Lionesses?
I think like when she got her injury last, what was it?
Over a year ago.
Almost a year ago. It was, I think, so sad. Like even for a foreign player, I knew her, of course, from the name and everything and played against her, but I'm always so just happy for players when they make it back and also make such an impressive comeback.
Yeah.
Like she's already, I think, performing on a really high level, which is not like normal when you're out for 9, 10, 11 months.
Yeah, I think she's integral to both Arsenal and England, so it's no surprise that she's gotten the call up kind of straight away. And Joe Montemurro said after the game that he saw real maturity during her injury period. And I can imagine that must have been really tough because you've got Danny Carter coming back and then getting injured again, and like things like that must kind of play on your mind. But to see her come back to get a goal, you saw how much that meant to her in the highlights. It was really special. So I think she'll be a big part to be back for England.
For sure. Now, do we think this is a bit of a not controversial question, but if she was in the England squad out of the World Cup, would that have made a difference? Would we have maybe got further?
I think it's too much pressure to put that amount of pressure on one player. Like I don't think that's fair to say.
All right, Monki.
If Jordan was in the World Cup, like we would have like won it.
Yeah.
But I think she definitely could have made a difference.
Yeah.
It would have strengthened the squad without a doubt. 100%.
Potentially better performances with the same result, potentially. But I think, there would have been potentially better performances. But yeah, like I say, it's not like we didn't win the World Cup because Jordan Nobbs wasn't there at all. But I can understand there was a lot more shifting around and things that had to be done because she wasn't.
In the Euros, we'll be like, bring it home, mate. Pressure's on.
Yeah, it must have been so hard for her though. Like, imagine getting an injury anyway, which obviously Julia, you'll know all about, is obviously going to be so tough. But when everyone's going out to the World Cup and you can't then be out there.
There's no good timing for an injury, right?
No.
But they're like...
That is really not good timing.
And that was maybe worse timing.
I was there, it was...
Yeah, it could have worked out maybe if she would really rush through the rehab, but I think at one point she made the decision, which was maybe a really, really hard one for her to take. No, I'm going with my healthiness and I'm gonna recover and then I'm coming back in. So I'm not rushing through my rehab and make it in whatever kind of shape to the World Cup. So I think that was a smart move from her as well.
Maybe that's the maturity Joe Montemurro was talking about. I guess as well we also saw Jordan then doing some punditry during the World Cup. Spotted her a few times from the crowd. She did a good job as well. And
she was really good.
Yeah, quite a natural step in for her. So
I asked her how it was and she was really nerve-wracking. I was almost more so than playing football. I guess you stood in front of a camera, millions of people are watching.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't tell she was nervous.
No.
She smashed it.
Yeah, she did really, really well.
But what was cool was seeing her hanging over the balcony, kind of come on, and then turning around and being super professional on TV.
Yeah, because I kept looking out for her in stadiums. It was so weird. You do this weird people watching thing. I'd be like, oh, there's Alex Scott, and who else can I see with my poor eyesight? Anyway, we are going to pause on the WSL and talk Champions League. So, first and foremost, can anyone stop Lyon winning a 5th consecutive title? It's mad, isn't it? I'm taking the silence as a no.
I feel like Lyon are the USA of
a little bit, yeah. No one can stop them.
Do you know what I mean? But teams are coming close.
We've got a comment here from Essie. Shout out Essie, thank you for this. He says, they're the team to beat, and if anyone gets a scalp off them, it will be massive. It would be.
But I think as you get into the latter stage of the competition, it's just going to get harder and harder. There's a lot of teams now investing, have really good quality players. There could be some shock results.
Look, I like this stat. So Ada Hegerberg's first leg hat-trick and double in the return moves her to 49 European goals, just 2 behind the record of 51 at just 24 years of age.
It just keeps rolling,
yeah.
I played with her when she was in Potsdam, she was 17 years something.
How good was she then?
Already good. Strong, confident. That's maybe one of her biggest strengths, I think, that she's so confident, she's strong, she's never injured, she plays every game. Yeah, she also want to play every game. She's not one of them, give me a little rest, I want to recover. It's just making extra sessions, being there in time, staying longer than anyone else. I think the story really, it's a nice one for her. Yeah. But it's not she just appeared and got a lot of talent. She's working hard for this as well. So. Yeah.
She came down to the clubhouse in Paris when we were there, and she was on the podcast. Me and Heath had a chat with her.
What's she like?
Mate, she is so sound. When you meet someone, you're just I just really want them to be cool.
They say don't be your
hero.
Yeah. I was she left, and I was she's sick. What a sound person. She hung around sort of longer than I guess she was expected to. Just had a chat, was super chill. very confident. Like you can tell she's just confident in herself.
Yeah.
And that reflects on the pitch as well.
It's so cool to have these role models.
Yes,
like these people you want to be looking up to. I look up to so many people now who are younger than me. It makes me sick. Like,
That's so
like,
weird.
When I grow up, I want to be. Oh wait, she's 24. Okay.
I need to rethink. What is the general vibe? Do we think that an English team could break that spell? I mean, the first time in 12 years, so since Arsenal back in 2007.
Obviously, I would say Lyon is a top favorite, but it can't always continue. So there must be a game when they really have a bad day. And to be honest, I hope for this as well. Not with injuries or something, but just having a bad day. Like, come on.
We saw the draw on Monday. What did you think about that? So City have Atletico Madrid.
It's a hard one,
but it feels like it was always going to happen though. So I don't know why. Tony Duggan coming back to City.
She played there, right?
Be a good clash.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal got maybe no diss, but I think if they probably would have chosen.
But I think they underestimate Slavia Prague. Yeah. People do this a little bit. They have really good players. They played, I think last season they made it to
quarterfinals. The last 2 years.
Yeah, Bayern Munich or something. And they have good players.
I think it's because of the teams Arsenal could have gotten. There was some really big names there they could have gotten.
Yeah, they were lucky, right?
As an Arsenal fan, I was like.
But also, like you say, you can't underestimate teams in Champions League, and I'm sure Lyon say the same thing when they get drawn against teams that you can't underestimate them.
But even for City playing Atletico, I think it's a good thing also to see where do we really stand. Like, can we compete these top like European teams now? Or because you always say the English league is the best European league now, or maybe the best league in the world. Yes, it's because it's such a big width of quality. So many teams bring in foreign players in as well, and like now it's a time to show the world a little bit like what's the English league is about and how the level really increased. And I think these are the games to see where it stands.
Right, we're now going to take a look at some of the bigger stories happening off the pitch. So we've got to talk about the FIFA Best Awards. Obviously, Megan Rapinoe won the FIFA Best Women's Player. Did we see Phil Neville's speech? What you thought about it? Should we take a look?
You can see why Megan Rapinoe won it. You know, their performances in the World Cup. The other thing I would say about Lucy is that her performances, this is a year-long period. She's won the Champions League, she's won the French League, she's won the French Cup, she's won everything. She won the European Footballer of the Year. So in terms of a 12-month period and consistency, and bearing in mind the American players don't play for their clubs that often, my feeling is that over a consistent period of time, when you're judging a player to win the best player in the world, 12 months is 365 days. And I think over 365 days, I still believe that our Lucy Bronze was the best player. But you look, I voted for Lucy, Megan Rapinoe second, because the big occasion, she turned up, she helped win her team a World Cup. And you know what, there was 3 great players up last night. You probably, either one of the 3 could have won. But my bias was still towards Lucy.
I mean, look, what do you think? Megan Rapinoe is fantastic. Obviously, so is Lucy Bronze. Has Phil got a point?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's got a point. I think the problem is because we've just come off the back of the World Cup, everyone's focusing on that, aren't they? And like you said, rather than looking at the last 12 months, it's really easy to look at the last 2 months.
Yeah, which is fine, I think. Like, obviously, take this big tournament and see who's really performing. And she did perform, 100%.
Yeah, of course.
It's more like, did she win because of her performance or because also like her role she's playing in the moment for women's football, which is great, but is it really like that outstanding on the pitch as well, or is it more like her whole personality who won her the title? Lucy Bronze was outstanding every time I saw her play, and she's one of the best like wingers or right backs I've ever seen. But maybe it's a little bit the position as well. Like if she would be maybe a striker or something and would score like.
That's a good point.
Yes, maybe would make it easier for her to win this title. But yeah, I think just being nominated as well is a really, really big thing for her already, and shows her quality. But yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah, I think he has a point. I think had England gotten knocked out really early and Lucy didn't have much of a World Cup, it'd be maybe slightly different. Yeah, she had a great domestic season, but she was a huge name during the World Cup. Like not just for England, but other countries are kind of like, whoa, Lucy Bronze. She was being talked about a lot. So, yeah, I can see where he's coming from. Definitely, I think if she was going to lose to anyone, Megan Rapinoe.
We've got to give it to Megan Rapinoe. Her speech was
Amazing.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was such a good speech. Obviously, it went viral.
It was really, really good. And I've had a lot of people say that to me. You're like, they find her annoying, or why is she making it about her?
Weird, isn't it?
And you're like, when else is she supposed to do it? Because when else is this much attention on women's football? I'm sorry, like, this is the time. Like, she could make it all about her, but she's not. She's actually using her platform.
Absolutely.
To, like you said, she like winning the award. She's done so much for the women's game.
Yeah.
Like, not just on the pitch, but off it. So
you need these players in this game now to stand up, raise their voices, and use like your position to do something or change something. And like I think she gets a lot of what do you say, bad press or haters a little bit. But I think for the bigger picture behind it, it creates changes, which is good for everyone.
People get annoyed when footballers are opinionated.
Oh.
And I don't I don't really get it. They're like, keep politics out of football, and it's like,
but then
hang on a minute, the men's World Cup is in Qatar. Politics is already in
Yeah.
Are you telling me that it's in Qatar for the good of the game?
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Like,
There's,
it's too late, and people are allowed to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
And they also have the right to just play football and not. That's completely up to them.
But what I love is seeing these high-profile footballers using their platform for good, really.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about like how important it is for people to feel like they can get to know players and know who they are and learn about them. So it's not ideal when maybe FIFA tweet a video of Lucy Bronze and it's Jill Scott.
I felt like I got left up for a little while as well.
It was there for a while. It's super awkward. Like when
Did Lucy
replied as well. And it wasn't like a clip, it was like 2.5 minutes long. Someone went to the time and effort to go through all of the clips and there she is, there's number 2, that's not number 2. Let's pull all these clips together and put it out. And like super, like, I mean,
it's not like they're even similar players.
Do you know what I mean? Also, you look at them, like Jill's like 7 foot and
Where does
stuff,
it
but
come
they
from?
look so different. I just like, how
but
do
also,
you get that wrong?
like, and because Lucy's been in the best, which is why they were talking about her. Like, her face has been everywhere, so it's not like how can you have an excuse to
know
not?
them?
Let's briefly talk about the team of the year. No Miedema, no Hegerberg. I mean,
the Miedema one does. I mean, Hegerberg, but I think that not being in the World Cup is always going to make it.
But should it?
Well,
should that be a difference?
It's coming off the back of the World Cup, I think, and I think if players are winning things based on their performances in the World Cup and not necessarily about domestic, then to only have been in domestic, it's no surprise. I think Miedema is a surprise.
Yeah, she's amazing. But what I quite liked is she came out and she spoke to. You're laughing because you know what I'm going to say. She spoke to Tim Stillman and said, "We all know it's a popularity contest. I don't care for individual awards, but I think it's a joke." And Vivian, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I do, and I like that she actually said
More of that, yeah.
Yeah, and actually I saw, did you see Frank Kirby? Tweeted it, and she basically stood up for her.
Which is so cool because they're rivals both internationally and domestically, and she's not afraid to stand up and go, actually, she should have been in that team.
When she played 3 years ago at Bayern, she won them, I think, out of 20 games, 15 games with scoring the one goal in the game. It was always 1-0, Miedema scored. So
how someone was reading that and being like, nah.
Nah, she's not making the cut. No, it's mad, isn't it? Right, let's talk about Merit Mathias and her tweet. Now, if you haven't seen this, I'm going to read out the tweet. Excuse my voice. I'll try and do it as best as I can. I'm going to say controversial, but I'll let you have your say on it. So basically she suffered an ACL injury. She identified a Rachel Daly challenge as kind of why she got the injury, but she did, to be fair, get up and carry on playing. So anyway, so she said, "I did not tear my ACL. My ACL was torn for me. I did not misstep. My foot did not get stuck. It was not a freak accident. My plant leg was intentionally kicked. I was awarded a foul and Houston awarded a free kick. It is due to a lack of respect that I will not be finishing my season with the North Carolina Courage. I'll be getting surgery while my teammates take on playoffs. It's because of your lack of respect that I can respectfully say, you."
Wow.
With a video, she posted a video as well of
the
Rachel
innocuous
Daly
challenge. Sorry.
So, right?
No, like, I mean, the Jordan Nobbs ACL challenge was more of a challenge than that, and she didn't turn around and blame anybody. Like, that was...
And it's a contact sport, no? This happens maybe 100 times in a game or even more. Like, it's just a normal tackle. Like, you fight for a ball and you use your body, you use what you have. Yes, so...
She could have walked away from that from that
she
foul and
did.
and didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
She quite
She
literally.
literally walked away from that.
like I'm sure you've had tackles like that and nothing's happened. It's
So it is a fluke.
it's just
that's the
it's,
thing.
it's just happened. I can't look at that tackle and be like that's a vicious,
Savage,
savage tackle. Like
No, and also, what do we think about her calling out another player, calling out Rachel
Like,
for that?
I think it's unprofessional.
Yeah. And we've seen it happen before when they were bad challenges, and even then it didn't go down well. Like people were like, "This is not the way to address this. That isn't the way to. That's not the platform to use. That's not the way to do it." So when it's something like that, you're just making yourself look silly.
I don't know. Mate, I wonder if she regrets tweeting that, to be honest.
Hello.
Beer has the bride. Here we go.
Right, let's get on it. It's 10 to 11.
We're going to move on and talk about the NWSL. Let's take a look at some of the best goals from stateside this week.
Darren Jenkins nearly had that first goal, but Barnhart with better save. Balser onside. Balser gets that.
Shoots through
I
her.
thought she was going to pass that.
Can I go for legs or new clothes?
2 points apiece with 2 games each to play.
Shout out Jodie Taylor.
Those games will become important should this result remain.
Taylor!
Oh,
Finds the far post.
it's a bit bubbly.
Yeah, that was one of
Took a
those
while.
goals.
I
thought she was
I'll
gonna-
take it.
I was
Go on
going
for
to
the
take it on the
goalie.
volley, but no. I was like, oh, bite. Oh.
Points. You wonder if that's going to be enough for Washington to find that second goal. Lavelle. Into the air, Lavelle finds the corner for the Washington Spirit.
Is that Lavelle?
Yeah.
She is
She's good, right?
unbelievable.
Yes.
I think she has some sort of like GPS in her head where she can
Yeah.
just pick people out. She's unbelievable.
Service in towards the far post. Get it out. Second ball fought for. Shot by DiBernardo.
Oh, what a
Beautiful
goal.
goal from Vanessa DiBernardo. In traffic.
Let's defend
Passes
that.
perfectly
Clear the ball.
into the back corner.
Clear it. Clear it. Oh
Still,
my
they
god.
fought.
I mean, they
What
fought
goal.
for it.
Corner for Sky Blue FC. Killian service floating. Lloyd.
Oh,
The corner for Sky Blue.
that's such a difficult bounce, isn't it, when you're a goalkeeper?
Good goals there, right?
Yes.
I think the first one, like the keeper probably is going to look at that and would have wished that she did a bit better to get beaten in the post. That angle was
The angle.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
that was like
like
near
shot
post,
through
wasn't
her.
it?
yeah.
So the playoff teams are set. So North Carolina Courage, Chicago Red Stars, Portland Thorns and Reims. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But I do want to talk about Sydney Leroux Dwyer. So she made her comeback, right? 3 months and 1
Wow.
day after giving
The
birth
baby,
to her
yeah.
second child.
Yeah.
What a hero!
I mean,
love that.
yes,
Some
yes.
badass
Sydney.
bitches. We've been saying this so long. These footballers are amazing, and they're just proving it consistently.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all women, so we
Yeah.
know like women have babies.
Yes.
And
Also,
like-
we're that clued in. Yeah.
Also, like, what's the recovery plan after
Yeah.
giving birth? Like,
Yeah.
do you know anything about this? I don't know if there's some experts, even doctors. I don't know if they, have a plan for.
But is it something that's even considered in football contracts and stuff?
Yeah.
Whether you get like maternity leave
Exactly.
or
It
definitely
support,
wasn't.
or
It was
no,
like
no, it
definitely
wasn't.
issues,
Like
yeah.
you talk about Katie Chapman and stuff. There's another like unbelievable athlete, 3 kids, and then went on to play in the 2015 World Cup. Like blows your mind.
Sydney, did you see the photos?
Yes.
She posted with the yeah, what a hero! I love that. Anyway, we also want to talk on the show about people doing big things to promote the women's game. Rachel, looking at you. Tell us about Girls on the Ball.
We started just over 7 years ago after the Olympics. We went to see Team GB against Brazil, like 70,000 people in Wembley, unbelievable night. And it kind of got the ball rolling. We decided to start like trying to cover women's football, do like live Twitter feeds and stuff from games. And back then we were often the only people at games in some weird and wonderful countries, the only people tweeting from like Kazakhstan or like, you know, Belarus or Bosnia.
Yeah.
What's amazing is the game has changed so much in the last 7 years, which means we're like constantly trying to find where the gaps are, whether that's with content or whatever. But we try and be everywhere as much as possible. There are only 2 of us and we do work, but we do try and get absolutely everywhere. We're actually coming up to our 100th Lionesses game. The game against Portugal is going to be 100, so that's a nice little milestone as well.
What are your plans going forward?
I mean, the dream would be working in women's football. That's what we want to do. And whatever that is to kind of help promote the game. And we'd like to we've got great followers and we want to use our platforms to try and boost it. So there's lots of other people who want to get into women's football, but like they aren't there at the games or they're not going to tournaments or whatever. And if we can help boost their content, great. It means more people are seeing it, more people are getting quality stuff.
And where can people find you? Not quite like literally.
Not my
but-
address. No, you can follow me metaphorically, digitally. We're Girls in the Ball on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So yeah, do follow us and get in touch and tell us if you want to see some stuff.
Amazing, good work. Right, that is all we have time for. I'm sad, really sad, because I am sad, because it's been quite lovely.
Yes.
There are, of course, international fixtures this weekend. England face Brazil on Saturday. That'll be an interesting game, won't it? We want to hear from you guys, so make sure you get in touch on Twitter @Copper90 and join the Facebook group Copper90 Football is Football. And send us your comments and messages because we want to feature them in the show. But for now, that's the tea.